Hello everybody and welcome to video number 3, choosing your tank and stand. There is a lot to cover and it's going to take quite a while. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more interesting than last video. I'm going to show you my apartment, how I've set things up, and also look at some tanks and stands online. Hopefully at the end of this you'll have a good sense of what questions to ask and what you should look for, and hopefully be a little bit closer to choosing your tank and stand and starting out your first marine aquarium. Please subscribe below, like, ask any questions. Again, it's not going to be, I'm not going to cover everything. I'm going to forget a lot of things, and I'm not going in depth on any one topic. I'm just giving you the tools you need so that you can do your own research and dive in. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about with tanks and stands are the location. The location is not as easy as you think, and so we're going to talk about a few different things in the location. First of all, direct sunlight. You absolutely do not want your tank to be placed in an area that receives a lot of direct sunlight for several reasons. Now, does that mean you can't have it in direct sunlight? Let me push over here to show you my direct sunlight. Does that mean you can't have it in direct sunlight? Absolutely not. I just wouldn't have it in direct sunlight where it's going to be in the sunlight for a long part of the day. It is going to possibly cause algae problems, and not only that, but it could also disrupt your heating or cooling, make it a little bit more hot. It may make your water parameters, your temperature, not as steady as you would like it. I didn't put mine over here. I mean, I live in Seattle, so it's not like it's a big problem anyways, but in the summer, this is a south-facing window and it'll get a lot of light, so I made sure that I put it behind a wall so that it wouldn't receive that much light. Windows. Windows are a really big one. Typically the advice is do not place it near a window, and the reason for that, one, light. Okay, let's say you're in the northern hemisphere in the United States or England or Europe, and you put it in the northern facing window. Well, that's going to be fine probably from a light standpoint. But the problem with windows is windows are typically the most drafty places in an apartment, and there can be large temperature swings due to that. So I definitely would recommend not placing it next to a window, especially if you look at like my windows. These are older windows. There's not a great seal. Now, if you have some sort of really brand new window that is really sealed well, you might be able to consider it. But general rule, keep it away from the windows. That kind of also goes toward exterior walls. If you look over here, this wall over here is the edge of the building. And I chose not to put it on this wall for several reasons, but one of them is also exterior walls typically are cooler. Unless it's super well insulated, which some homes are, it's generally going to be drafty and cooler, and it's going to affect your tank and cool your tank down. So try to keep it away from exterior walls. Plus, if you're in an exterior wall, you can't really drill through it to hide your equipment on the other side. So just something to consider. All right, outlets. Where are the outlets in your house? Do you live in an older home, like a Craftsman, 1920 Craftsman, where they literally just put a couple outlets here and a couple outlets there? You need to make sure that, one, you are near outlets, and two, that those outlets have enough ampage on them to carry the load of your tank. For example, if you look at my tank, I had my tank connected to an outlet on the other side of that wall, and in the middle of the night it went out for some reason. For no reason, the circuit broke. It wasn't overloaded or anything, and in 6 hours my temperature decreased 7 degrees, and it was the night after I got my new anemone, and it was not looking good, and I was really worried. So I eventually found a new outlet, and that outlet I tested. And it is the only thing connected to that outlet now is my aquarium system. And the outlet, I'll show you here in a second, is a 15 amp service, and my tank draws a maximum of 4 amps. So it should be plenty good now. And let me go ahead and take you back here and show you my electrical board. So here's mine, and you know, everybody has one in their house. And you just, you know, if you know anything about electricity, you're good to go. If not, you're going to want to look, you know, at these numbers here. You know, these are 50 amp service, 15, 15, 20, 30. You just need to make sure that you have enough amps and that your circuit breaker can maintain it. If you're going to go with what I have, something like LED lights and a smaller tank with smaller heaters, you're probably going to be okay, and you're probably not going to really ever run above 5 amps, you know. But if you have metal halide or something like that, you might run a lot more. So you need to look around your house, look around your apartment, and determine what outlets are on what breakers, and place your tank in an area where you're going to guarantee you have continuous electrical current. Noise. So I want to take you into here, take you into my bedroom over here. If noise is a concern, okay, here's my bedroom, right kind of next to everywhere. I thought about putting it right there. You can kind of see against that wall, right? But I decided not to, because even a quiet tank still makes noise. And I'm gonna go put you over by my tank so that you can kind of listen to the noise it makes just for a second if you turn your volume up. Okay, here we go. You can see it's really not much noise, but it really is enough to bother somebody. So if the vibration is going to bother you, or sound of trickling water might bother you, consider not putting it anywhere that you want to sleep. You might be okay, but your spouse, your husband or wife, may not be very happy with you. Floor strength. Okay, so this is a condo unit. We're on the 5th floor, and I honestly would not have gone with a tank larger than this, which is 43 combined gallons. Just to give you a little example, 1 gallon of water is 8.3 pounds. So this 43-gallon system is 357 pounds. Now that's 357 pounds in a very small area. I'm actually a little nervous with that much weight in one area. So if you live in a home or an apartment and you're going to put in anything with any size, you know, including this 43-gallon, you know, if you're not a contractor, you might want to call one in. You might want to pay someone to come in who knows how to evaluate your structure and determine whether or not your ground or your floor can hold that much weight, or what will need to be done to make sure that it can hold that much weight, because you really don't want to ruin your tank, ruin your house, ruin your neighbor's property because this cracks, maybe falls through the floor. That would be absolutely awful. For location, also the proximity to heaters. What kind of heating do you have? Do you have central air? Then where are the vents? Do you have wall heating? Because you don't want to place your tank near the heater. It's pretty obvious why. It's going to raise the temperature of your tank and cause temperature swings. So try to put it away from your heater, and if it is near a heater, if you can close the vent, that's great, so it keeps a more constant temperature. Visibility. Now, where do you want your tank? Do you want it hidden away because you're not going to take very good care of it and it's going to look kind of ugly and it's really just for you, so you can put it out somewhere in a fish room or kind of hidden? Or is it going to be, you know, a main display for your family? You know, as you can see, my location, I really wanted to keep it somewhere centralized, where it was something I was proud of and where people could enjoy. The bad thing about having it out here, though, is I have to keep up on the maintenance. I can't let it slip, which isn't a problem because I love doing it. But I really do have to keep up on the maintenance because it's such a central part of our home that I want it to look nice. That also means that I did not want to have very much equipment showing. So as you can see, my tank is pretty minimal equipment. Really, the only equipment you see is my Vortec MP10 wave maker on the left and the Ecotech lighting, the Radion lighting on top. Everything else is hidden. And that's definitely the way I like it. Another question for location, access to a utility room, right? Are you going to put it somewhere like an exterior wall where there's no place to hide your equipment? Are you going to build a stand next to your aquarium and stand, like a separate shelving unit? Are you going to try to hide everything below? Or do you want to have it near somewhere like a fish room where you can plumb stuff directly into the back? So if you look here at mine, right, here's the wall, and I have hidden all of my equipment on the other side. Not only is my equipment up here, but it's also down below is where I have my RO, DI top off. Let me show you here. So up here is where I keep a lot of my testing kits and things like that. Right here is where I keep all my day-to-day stuff that I use, whether it's, you know, food or measuring cups, lights. And below here, if you can see, is where I keep my 2-part, and then that big container on the bottom is my RODI. So is it important for you to have your fish tank set up somewhere where you can do something similar, where you can hide it, or does that not really matter? Does the aesthetics of that not really matter to you very much? Again, let's see, skimmer, airline outdoors. Okay, so another big thing for location is if you live in an apartment building that's kind of stuffy or that doesn't have a lot of airflow, you might have problems keeping your pH up above 8. Not a huge concern, but one easy way that you will learn to fix that problem or to raise your pH, maybe, you know, 10 points or so, you know, from like an 8 to an 8, one tenth of a point, from 8 to 8.1, is to install airline tubing into your protein skimmer and run that outside. Here, it's really difficult for me to do that with my protein skimmer because it has to go all the way out there. But luckily, I have plenty of circulation in this apartment. But my last apartment, I did have to run an airline tubing outside because my pH was so bad and there was just so much carbon dioxide that I had to bring in the fresh air. And lastly, distance from the wall. All right, and what I mean by that, when you're considering location, is how much space are you going to need away from the wall? The first time I mounted my lights, I totally didn't even think about my radions were going to stick out here. And so I had to redo it, which was extremely frustrating, right? You may be getting a tank that requires a hang-on-the-back filter, or you may want to hang some equipment on the back. So before you fill it with water and it's impossible to move, you know, think about what you're going to be adding on and how much space you need to have it away from the wall. Now that you have chosen your location, right? So you're going to walk around your apartment, you know everything to think about, right? You're going to figure out where you're going to go, measure your space, take precise measurements, write everything down, know exactly how much space you have so that when we start looking at tanks and stands, you will know what will work and what won't work. And the last thing for this section of the video before I go on to the next is, what is your goal? And I know I've said this before, but before you even start looking at tanks or consider buying tanks, know what you want. All right? Do you want a small nano reef that's going to hold a couple fish? Do you want a fish only with live rock? Do you want a breeding tank? Do you want to hold 10 kinds of anemones? Do you want all small polyp stony corals? You know, do you want to be able to house large species of fish? All of these things are going to dictate the size of a tank you need. So don't just think that you're going to buy a tank and then you're going to make it work and fit to whatever you want. Instead, know what your dream is and then get that tank that matches that dream. Okay, we'll be right back with the next part of the video. Okay, everybody, we're moving on now to talking about some different kinds of systems during this section, and we're going to talk really briefly, one, about building your own. That is definitely an option, but it's not an option I recommend for beginners. And I mean, when I say build your own, I mean choosing your glass, choosing your acrylic, learning to cut it, learning how to seal it, building your stand, all that stuff. If you want to do it, you know, good for you. That's awesome. There's plenty of places you can go online to research that, but I'm not going to talk about it here. Next, I want to talk about the size of tank that you should consider. All right. for a beginner tank, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk about 10 gallons to 90 gallons. Now, here's kind of the weird thing about it. Small tanks, 10, 20 gallon, are thousands of dollars cheaper in the long run. Absolutely. But they're really, really hard to achieve success. And it's really attractive when you come up here and you look at something like a Nuvo Fusion. See this one right up here? $200 for, it looks like a 20-gallon tank. That is really attractive. It comes with a light. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting this tank. The problem is, unless you are super on top of it and you've done your research and you've had tanks before, you're likely going to experience a lot of livestock death, may end up getting frustrated with the hobby, because the evaporation alone on a tank this size will cause the salinity to change quite rapidly every single day. You know, let alone what happens if ammonia level rises. You know, it can arise really quickly. You know, what if disease breaks out? You know, what if anything, I mean, like anything happens, it can just kill everything. So a small tank is a decent option, but know that it's going to be very, very difficult, especially for your first tank, to have success. So I don't recommend getting a nano tank as your first tank. I recommend probably something at least around 30 gallons. If you really want to be on the safe side, I would say get something 90 gallons. Now, my reefer is 43 gallons total. It's 33 display tank and 10-gallon sump. For me, I didn't want to go much smaller because that seemed to be enough water for me to be able to maintain my levels, and so far it has been. But if you can afford it, a good in-between tank between a huge giant tank and a small nano tank is a 90-gallon tank. And those are very, very common size. You can put, you know, a lot of livestock. It's basically double the size of my tank. And you can easily have success. But know that if I was to upgrade mine to a 90 gallon, you know, I would probably have to pay another couple grand, and I've already put in about $5,000. So it is very expensive to go with a larger tank, but you're going to have more success. All right, I'm going to talk about all-in-one systems now, and I have a few things listed up here. I'm talking about systems from Innovative Marine, Red Sea, JBJ, and Coralife, where you buy one system, it comes with a tank, it comes with a stand, it comes with your filtration, it comes with your lighting, it comes with your return pumps, it comes with your heaters. Awesome way to start out in the hobby, okay? So let's look at a couple of these, talk about the pros and the cons, okay? So first of all, the pros of a system. So let's take a peek at one of these all-in-one systems. Let's just look at, here we go. We'll look at the Nuvo Fusion, right? 10-gallon, which a little bit small, but just to kind of see what it comes with, right? So it comes with the tank. It doesn't come with a stand because it's small enough to put like on your desk. A lot of them do come with stands, right? And if you scroll down, it tells you what it comes with. It comes with your LED lights, comes with a mesh screen top, the rubber leveling mat, which is really important, we'll talk about, filter baskets, return pump, and so there's just a few things that you need to buy. Awesome, right? Super awesome, and nothing wrong with that. So the pros are that it's really easy to buy an all-in-one tank. It's less expensive, you know, overall, which is great. And it comes with compatible equipment, so you know that the equipment it comes with is going to work. It's going to be the right size, so it's kind of like a plug and play. You can read the reviews on all of these, you know, see what people say. You know, there's 5 reviews of this one on Bulk Reef Supply. Take a peek at them, you know, see what people are saying about it. And then there's a lot of hard decisions that you usually have to make, such as lighting and types of filtration. You don't have to make them in an all-in-one system. They're already made for you, and that makes it so much easier to just get started in the hobby. Now, there are cons to this. There's less choice of equipment that will work, that will fit. So you are going to be more limited as you get better in the hobby and you want to explore the hobby with different equipment. You might have to buy a specialized replacement part that only fits in their stand, you know, and that might frustrate you after a while. You might have to altogether sacrifice certain kinds of equipment. You know, there's some things that just will not fit in your tank or your stand if you buy an all-in-one system, and that's just the reality of the situation. You are probably not going to be getting anything top of the line when you buy an all-in-one system. You're probably not getting the best heaters, not getting the best return pumps, not getting the best lighting. It'll be sufficient, but not the best. So if that matters to you, you may want to consider not getting an all-in-one system. Yeah, and one more con is if your goal is to have something like SPS coral, you know, small polyp stony corals, everyone knows they need a lot of light. And, you know, if you look in this one, the light it comes with, you may have to upgrade it, you know, because it may not have enough PAR output to support that life. So just things to think about. Let me show you some examples of some all-in-one systems and who makes them, right? And then you can browse on your own. I have 3 websites, okay? This one here is Bulk Reef Supply. They sell the Nuvo Fusions, right? Really good system. A lot of people seem to like them. Not top of the line by any means, but certainly great. And then the other one they sell that probably is top of the line, let's see, it's not the Reefer, it's the Max series from Red Sea. This is Red Sea's all-in-one system, right? So it comes with everything you see. It comes with a stand, comes with a light, everything. So basically plug and play. There's going to be a few other things you have to buy, but really it's going to be very little. You know, if you look down in the sump, it comes with all of your outlets, space to upgrade. There's a lot of space in the sump, which is awesome, and it comes in all sorts of different sizes. So if you're looking here, different sizes, different colors. Definitely top of the line, definitely expensive, but a great option to go. So we got Red Sea, we got Innovative Marine, which is a great one. Let's see if they sell any biocubes here. I don't think so. Let's look at the Amazon. Here's one, Coralife Biocube. You know, this is relatively small. It's 29 gallons, I think it says. It doesn't look that big. But biocubes, check out the customer reviews. You know, really highly rated, all-in-one system. Closed lid top. You can place it pretty much anywhere. A really good way to get started. The downside, of course, with a Coralife Biocube is the amount of water. It's going to be more difficult to maintain that. And if you look at this tank here, this picture, wow, this thing is stocked to the brim. And you could do this, but this is for a very, very advanced reefer. I wouldn't recommend putting that much in if that's your first tank. So you have Coralife, which is really good. Let's go check out TB Aquatics. All right. So TB Aquatics has Innovative Marine System. Oh, here's their JBJ. All right. Another sort of biocube, all-in-one, right? So you can check out, you know, the JBJ systems as well. Let's see, and then Marine Depot. You can sort on Marine Depot site by size, like Pico or medium. So if you want to look at their nano aquariums, here's what they have. You know, you can get your Coralife all-in-one, your Innovative Marine right here does all-in-one, and JBJ does all-in-one, and Red Sea does all-in-one. So you go to Marine Depot and you can at least browse the various all-in-one systems that are out there. Yeah, so I would check out Bulk Reef Supply, marinedepot.com, TB Aquatics, and then maybe Amazon. Amazon does not have very many. I think Coralife really is the only one that you're going to find there. Be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back. We've talked about all-in-one systems. Now I want to talk about in between an all-in-one system and a, you know, build your own from scratch system. I'm going to just show you 2 of these systems. And basically what I mean by a kind of in-between system is something that comes with a tank and a stand that are meant for each other, that already has the holes drilled in it, that the plumbing's going to fit through the tank. It may even come with the plumbing equipment. But outside of that, there's nothing. It doesn't come with the lighting, heating, no other equipment, just tank and stand. The good thing about these in-between systems are you can choose anything you want. Okay, and this one right here, this Innovative Marine, I would really recommend this one. It's a really good size. 40 gallons is a great starting size. It's big enough to, you know, have good water quality, but it's also small enough that you can fit it in a lot of places. All right. So if you look down here, what it comes with is 40 gallons. It comes with really good quality glass called low iron glass, which we'll talk about. It comes with a rubber mat, and it comes with lid clips, right? And then this one comes with the overflows already drilled, return nozzles. This one also comes with a pump and designed heating calcium reactor space, right? So a pretty good option. Now, what this one doesn't come with is a sump, right? If you look here, it has a tank, and this is the tank only. You have to buy the stand separately. But if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it, it has an overflow box in the back. It's got your return pumps right here, right? And then it's going to be plumbed down to a sump. Now, I'm not sure if it, I'm really not sure if it comes with a sump. You may have to purchase your own sump to fit in that space. But it's going to come with something that looks really nice. It looks really clean. This one for the tank is $350. If you wanted to then go ahead and buy the stand, it looks like it's about another $300. A really good option, something in between that you can customize. All right. The other option I want to show you is actually the Red Sea Reefer. It's the one that I went to. It's the one I went with. We've already talked about the Red Sea Reefer, the Red Sea Aqua Max series, and that's awesome because that's an all-in-one system. This one comes with the tank, the stand, a sump, an auto top-off reserve, and all the plumbing included. Okay, so let me show you this tank. Now this tank comes with low iron glass, which is really awesome. It's really ultra clear. Okay, 33 gallons upstairs here. Okay, you can see back here, here's the overflow box. Okay, and it comes with all of your piping, now all of your plumbing. You have to connect it, but it comes with your main overflow here, it comes with your emergency overflow, and then your return. Right? Pretty simple. Then, if we come and look down below what this comes with, put this down. So in between here, it comes with your neoprene foam mat, and then down here, it comes with the glass sump. So this down here is a 10-gallon sump, right? And it comes with a 1.5-gallon auto top-off reserve. Everything else is stuff that I customized, right? It has, I customized the protein skimmer, everything else you see. The other thing that it does come with back here is the plumbing. And it's a really awesome silent overflow, I believe it's called a Herbie system. And then you can customize. You have a main space here, basically, right here, is for a protein skimmer, right? Then in the middle here, it has the bubble section that takes out all the micro bubbles. And then you have a spot for your return pumps. I built a little stand over here to the left and kind of chose what I wanted. So if you don't want to go all in one, but if you don't want to build it from scratch, something like a Red Sea Reefer is going to be a really good in-between, and also the innovative marine tank. That's a really good place to start out. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, I only have a couple more topics to discuss. So let's say you don't want to go the all-in-one route, and you don't want to go the in-between route. Well, then you got to choose your tank, and you got to choose your stand separately. So for tank considerations, one is the shape, right? You have some basic shapes if you're looking here. You have a cube or a rectangle. You have, obviously you can see a cube or rectangle. You have really shallow ones. If we look down here, you probably see one, yeah, right here. It's like a bookshelf aquarium, something kind of shallow. You also have what are known as bowfront aquariums, and this one actually has a front that bows. It's not straight. These are almost going to always be acrylic, because acrylic are the only things you can really bend. Then you got to decide, okay, glass or acrylic, and there's pros and cons to both. Okay, glass aquariums are heavier, they're cheaper, they're relatively easy to repair. But they don't hold their temperature very well. So if power goes out, they're going to lose temperature faster than acrylic. Most glass is relatively nice to look through, but there's a special kind of glass called low iron or starfire glass, and it is ultra clear, and that is what the Reefer series have. Really, really nice kind of glass. Beware of tempered glass. So if you're just buying a tank, like let's say you just wanted to buy a glass tank, okay? It doesn't come with any holes drilled in it or anything like that, and you're going to be drilling your own. You need to make sure the glass isn't tempered. If it's tempered glass, as soon as you try to drill it, it's going to shatter. So just be careful with that when you're looking into it. And on glass, they're easier to clean. You're going to use stainless steel to clean it, and you don't really have a risk of scratching the glass. You can even use an X-Acto knife to clean it. So much harder to scratch. If you want to go with an acrylic tank, they're usually quite clear. They're bendable, so you can get a lot of unique shapes, but they do scratch easy. You have to be really careful. You cannot use stainless steel on them. You have to use plastic when you're cleaning them, so you probably will get scratches. They're much lighter than glass, and they do hold their shape a lot better. Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about stands. Alright guys, welcome back to our final discussion, and we're just going to talk about stands. Things a lot of people don't think about. Unless you fully understand the physics of weight distribution, which I'm not there, do not use a table as a stand. Do not use a bookcase as a stand. Do not use a counter as a stand, unless it's something small like a 10-gallon. That's still going to be over 80 pounds, right? But even in my small 43-gallon, that's over 300 pounds. And unless you know what you're doing, you can have some extreme failure. So please, buy something that is rated to hold an aquarium at the proper weight. If you want to make a custom one and you know what you're doing, great. If not, have somebody professional make it for you, so that it does support all the weight. Absolutely important. So some questions you want to ask for when you buy a stand. 1, access. Is there a space below? Like in here, is there a space to add a sump if that's something you want to add? Does the door open up easily? Is there going to be a center beam down the door if it's a larger stand that's going to hinder your access? Is there an opening in the back to put your wires through? Is there good airflow through there? You don't want the air to get stale inside there. Yeah, I mean, all those kind of questions are important. Ease of access. Is it going to be pleasant to get in and out of, because you're going to be down there cleaning it quite a bit? The next one is type of wood. I am no wood expert, all right? So I'm not going to comment on different types of wood, but I would say this: you don't want moisture to creep into untreated wood. It's going to rot the wood, especially salt water, over time, and it's going to cause rotting, and eventually you're going to have to replace it. So do your research and make sure you get something that is highly water resistant, that is treated, something that has really good silicone seals on it, so that the wood won't rot. And then the last question is, what do you plan on housing in your stand? Are you going to put anything in there, or is it all going to be hanging on? So if you're just going to have a hang on the back, refugium, hang on the back filters, you're going to put your pumps, everything inside the tank, then you don't really need to worry about storing stuff in your stand. But if you want to have a sump, if you want to have like dosing pumps, you want to hide your electrical, you need to make sure you have enough room. You want to hide a chiller. You want to make sure you have enough room in your stand to accommodate that. And if you don't have enough room in your stand, then make sure you put your stand and your aquarium either next to an area that has good shelving, or an area that you can drill through to a basement or to another room where you can hide everything, right? Another thing to think about with stands and with tanks in general, neoprene foam. When you get a stand, when you get a tank, you absolutely need to buy neoprene foam, right? If we look on here, it's right here, neoprene foam. It's probably not gonna show up here. It's quite inexpensive, not very expensive at all. And what it does is it evens out the bottom, right? Because if you were to put like 300 pounds, here it is, 300 pounds of water on a solid surface, and there's even minute, ups and downs, right? It's going to lead to stress fractures over time and possibly destroy your tank and cause cracking and leaking, right? So all you need is some foam, some neoprene foam, and what that's going to do is that's going to absorb all those minute differences and make it a nice, level, safe contact between both your aquarium and the stand, but also if you have a glass sump, especially between your sump and the bottom of the stand. I also, last but not least, are silicone sealant and shims, both of which you can see here. Whenever you get a stand, and even I did this with my Red Sea, I sealed the inside of the stand because there's going to be a lot of moisture in your stand. And if there's any opening, any crack, any seam, anything, moisture is going to creep in and it could rot your wood over time. So all you need to do is pick up something like this. This is a black silicone seal, and seal up everything inside. You can't see it with my black tank, and it's awesome. And a little bit of work at the beginning is going to save you a lot of money and a lot of time. And then lastly, our composite shims. You need to level your tank, okay? And I'm going to zoom you in here to see if you can see my shims. You can probably barely see them. Right here are my shims, and they go all along the bottom. And you know, you obviously need to pick up a level. If you don't have one, you need to borrow one or buy one, because if your tank is not perfectly level over time, it's going to cause stress fractures and the possible leaking or failure of your tank. So once your stand and your tank are in place, you know, maybe add a little sand, add a little bit of water, just so you add a little bit of weight to it, and then you need to use shims. These are really easy. These are composite shims. I got them from Home Depot. All you do, right, is you put them in this way, like this. You take a hammer and you hammer it in like this. And then once you get it to the level place, you break it. And as you can see with my tank, you really can't see them. And they're running all along the bottom just to make sure it's nice and level. And then the last thing I want to talk about is overall cost. Your tank and your stand is probably going to run you 20% of your overall cost. That's probably pretty accurate. So bigger tank, you know, more money, so on and so forth. While bigger is easier, right? Research all your costs, because while I've spent $5 grand on this, if I was to double this tank size, I'd probably be spending, probably not double, but close to double everything, because everything is more expensive. Getting a higher gallon per hour pump is more expensive. A higher wattage heater is more expensive. This Radion light wouldn't work for a larger tank, so I need to get the one with basically double Radion lights. It's going to double the cost. So just keep that in mind and price things out for when you begin building your tank. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Sorry for this ridiculously long video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. And please join me for our next video, where, I'm looking right now, we are going to dive into lighting, heating, circulation, and cooling. Lots to discuss there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have yourselves a great day.